Hi everybody and welcome back. Today we're gonna be talking about the two lawsuits at Bungie. There being the one with Matthew Kelsey and the other one being the Christopher Barrett one. I'm gonna spend most of the time on the Christopher Barrett lawsuit, but I think the one with Matthew Kelsey is worth at the very least talking about just a slight bit. Now, Matthew Kelsey, in case you don't know, was a writer on the Red War campaign, and the interesting part about the lawsuit is what it has revealed about the vaulted content in Destiny, that being that they aren't compatible with the current released version. That means that the code itself isn't compatible, which is to say that they can't just reactivate the Red War as an example. This of course also applies to other fan favorite activities such as Leviathan and all of these other things, and personally I think that's incredibly disappointing, as Leviathan has always been one of my favorite raids. It was my first raid in any game, and it's one of those that I hope to see return one day. I think it's incredibly sad to see the Red War also not being accessible at all. It's one of those campaigns that was actually really well made when you look back on it. It had a really nice way to introduce gradually everything to players, so you won't just be bombarded with information off the rip. And a lot of those things are things we're currently struggling with the new player experience within Destiny. It's one of the reasons why this is actually kind of a big deal, because of course it isn't just Red War. Even if you don't care about the campaign, even if you don't think they should bring it back for the new player experience, it also applies to things such as Leviathan. It will probably apply to other vaulted content such as Scourge of the Past and Crown of Sorrows and all of these other raids that have also been, well, vaulted. One of my favorite raids in the entirety of the game is actually Eater of Worlds. It's one of those that was really easy even back in the day, but man, I do really miss running Eater. I just think it was such a fun raid. But the essential thing is just that the raids and the content isn't really operational under the current framework. Now, I've seen various takes on it, and it's why I kind of want to come in here. I think people are forgetting one thing. Yeah, Bungie would have to rebuild Leviathan from scratch, or the Red War campaign, but they also had to rebuild Vault of Glass from scratch. You can't just port it from one game into the other. I don't think this decreases the likelihood that you'll ever see Leviathan return. It will probably decrease the likelihood that you'll ever see Red War return, but Leviathan not as much. I think these raids and dungeons, mainly raids that have been taken out, I don't think there is any dungeons and strikes, they have a pretty decent chance of, well, being featured again eventually, in comparison to Red War, which is an entire campaign and another bag of worms. Because, to put it quite simply, they've been doing that for like a few years now. They've been bringing back Destiny 1 raids with things such as Vault of Glass and King's Fall and Crota's End, all being raids from Destiny 1 that they had to rebuild from scratch and put into Destiny 2. So I think there's a good likelihood that we'll eventually see the not Red War, but probably Leviathan. Please, I would love Leviathan. Even if we already have some of the loot, I'd still really love a Leviathan raid. But that is really it I have on the Matthew Kelsey lawsuit. I just wanted to talk about it, and I don't know where else to include it. So let's move over to the Christopher Barrett one. Part of the lawsuit for Christopher Barrett is that he makes an unsafe environment. And while this is not going to be the majority of my focus, it's going to be in the text messages, I just have to read this one account out loud. Because it is something else. It is definitely something else. A lot of things are being alleged in this lawsuit, not just about the things that Barrett apparently sent out to the female employees, but also this, which I just feel like I have to just read you the snippet. At least one Bungie employee frequently exposed themselves in the office, including by pulling down his pants in the middle of the office and pressing his exposed buttocks against the window overlooking the entire studio. Just imagine it. You're working, you're coding, it's going great. And then you look up and you are horrified at the sight of this freak with his bare ass in the window just doing circles. You know, he's getting in there, getting in the labs. Honestly though, as funny as it is, it's also really horrifying. And it is definitely one of those things where you can sit and you can look at it and wonder how much game development is actually going on at that point. Like, if you're exposing yourself in the studio at your workplace, if you're trying to get the punani then like, what are we actually doing here? You're at your work, you aren't working. You know, I know there's this tendency for some people to very quickly write these things over as not being that bad. And despite the fact that I think they're legitimately kind of funny, like, they sort of think this is at the very least so ridiculous it's kind of funny, it's also a huge problem, obviously. These people aren't getting their work done, and most of them they're just harassing female employees, and that's just not okay in any way. Now, the newest thing on the Christopher Barrett lawsuit itself is that Christopher Barrett would apparently be messaging different female employees during work meetings and just privately, and it would get really suggestive, and he might have been a little bit drunk, and all of these sort of things. Part of it being the truth or dare thing that you've probably heard about. So let's just straight up get into reading these messages, and then I'll sort of explain what I see here, what I think afterwards. Barrett asked the victim one to play truth or dare over text and inquired to what do you think your best and worst features are physically. He later told her in a text message that she was hot, despite victim one's explicit request in writing for Barrett to recognize boundaries. He called her late at night while drunk after keeping her on a FaceTime call for hours. He moved down a dark hallway to his bedroom and suggestively told her, "I can't believe I'm lying in bed talking to victim 1. She abruptly hung up. Barrett sent victim 2 Instagram direct messages stating, "You're the holy grail. I hope you find a person worthy of your attention," and qualified it with, "I'm not hitting on you. I hope it doesn't feel like that. I'm married, but can I be honest? You're the 0.0000001 and better be treated like that forever." When victim 2 responded that her boyfriend treats her very well, Barrett responded, "He better, because I'd hit on you if he wasn't." Barrett also sent victim 2 an Instagram direct message asking, "You want to be worshipped, I think? Why are you against that actually happening?" And a few days later, he messaged victim 2, "What are the steps one would have to take to date you? What is the strategy guide?" Barrett similarly told victim 3, "I hope your boyfriend doesn't mind I text you a lot, and I just worry, like, I really enjoy texting you and talking. I don't want him to get the right idea." Later in the conversation, when victim 3 told Barrett she was busy, Barrett stated, "I want your attention." So annoying. Now, I know I promised with my whole heart that I wouldn't be interjecting here, but I have to. I just have to. I can't keep it to myself. Why is this man texting like an anxious teen? I mean, come on. What is this? You're the 0.00001%. What is the strategy guide to date you? Like, that is some fucking Reddit singers. What are we doing, man? Like, what is this? Holy shit. And like, the entire thing with, like, I really enjoy it. I wouldn't want him to get the right idea. Like, stop it, Barrett. Just stop. What the fuck? Man, you're supposed to be a game director. Go and direct your fucking game. Don't harass the female employees. Come on now. And the same thing comes with the, "I want your attention." There's something about it that triggers me. Like, genuinely gets me angry. I don't know what it is. I just think I find the way of typing irritating, you know? It's kind of like reading some of those cringy dating messages. It's like that, but this guy is like a millionaire who's suing a company for $50 million, and you're only reading it because he was harassing the people working under him. Like, damn, man. Stop it. Anyway, back to the text messages. During a game of Ask Me Anything instigated by Barrett over Microsoft Team messages, but he's getting the punani over Microsoft. Stop it. Barrett told victim 4, "I can only see you wearing devil's horns, and I have many crazy stories. I'm sure you have a few." Crying, laughing emoji. In another Teams meeting, why is it over Teams? In another Teams exchange, Barrett asked victim 4, "Are you still in PJs? And is it like bottom down top or bottom top or sweet pants? Lululemons?" Why does he know the names of these things, man? Jesus Christ. During a virtual game of Truth or Dare initiated by Barrett, he messaged victim 4, "You're an artist who likes fighting games and Berserk and D&D, and you're cute. Why are you not like the queen of the entire world? Don't know. Just 3 weeks into Victim 5's tenure at Bungie, 3 weeks mind you, Barrett called her late in the evening while drunk and told her intimate details about his personal life and asked about who she was dating and what her type was. He sent her personal Instagram follow request to connect that night, which she did not accept, luckily. Now, you don't have to be a genius to see how this also does, misuse to women, how this is, in my opinion, straight up harassment, and how it is a power dynamic that shouldn't exist and how you shouldn't be going for that. It's incredibly weird to read. And as somebody who's been a huge fan of Bungie's work since Destiny 2 launched, I mean, I have over 10,000 hours in this game by now. It's honestly really sad to read how the employees have been treated, right? You always play the game and you don't really think about it. I think that those people deserve a lot better. They are clearly very good at what they do. They have always been, The Bungie development team, the people who are making Destiny, are honestly some of the most talented people in the industry. And you can see when they pull through hard. I genuinely also believe that it's, management's fault, genuinely. When something fails in the Destiny universe, you always hear people sort of talking about it, but not really. I think oftentimes it is the management's work. Things like the housing system has apparently also been a management issue that hasn't been in. I don't really know about that, but what I do know is that these messages proves one thing and one thing only, and that is, bro was definitely not working on the job when he's trying to get that punani. I just think we have to have a point where we stop chasing the punani, You had your job, and I've worked with managers who want to be with their colleagues and whatnot, and it's really uncomfortable. It has to be for both the employees, but also just, for other people around him. How are you doing your job if this is what you're doing? You can't, you cannot be working while also trying to get this punani. That's not how that works. Also, dude, you are married. Go and be with your wife. What are you doing? And I have to say, Christopher Barrett always came across, in my opinion, as a really good guy, genuinely super nice, and the interviews and stuff you'd see with him. And it's honestly kind of horrifying to see some of these allegations come out. And I just think as a Destiny player, I wanted to give my 2 cents about it, which if you couldn't tell, if I have to cut it out into paper for you, I think this is horrifying. I think this is well within Sony's right to fire him on the spot, and it should have been done before, in my opinion. And I don't think he should win that lawsuit. I think these messages are really horrifying, because if nothing else, even if you don't think they prove anything regarding harassment or anything like that, it does prove that he wasn't fucking working on the job. At the very least, these were done in Microsoft Team messages. These were done over Microsoft Teams. I mean, come on. How are you making a game while also doing that? I have to say, I just think the entire thing is kind of weird, obviously, but I also think it's worth making fun of it, because this is legitimately funny. I mean, are you kidding me? Christopher Barrett, if this is completely true and right, and I have to emphasize, if it is, it hasn't, I think it is. I think it's very clearly that, but it is illegit for now, right? There hasn't been an outcome of the lawsuit, and I don't want to run the risk of anything happening here, so I'm just gonna say allegedly, right? But some of these things are really funny. I mean, texts I hope your boyfriend doesn't mind me texting you a lot, and I just worry because I really enjoy texting you, and I don't want him to get the right idea, and the entire I want your attention, so annoying. It's really cringe, if nothing else. It is some really cringe behavior, man. And I just have to at least talk a little bit about it, because it's been living rent-free in my mind for a little bit, and now it can live rent-free in your mind. And with that being said, I hope you enjoyed the video. I know it isn't usually what I do. I want to go into covering more stuff, and this is just an example of it. I hope you enjoyed it in any case, and if you did, that's great. I hope you have a wonderful evening, and I'll see you all later. Bye.